Yeah, you're right. I've never thought about this. We've never weaponized our diaspora. We've never thought about, let's act out soft power movements the way even Pakistan does in the UK. The Pakistani people in the UK get into positions of power in universities,
Very good.
radicalize when needed, and have basically become a strong community in the UK.
The Prime Minister of Scotland, was it? Or Ireland? Scotland, I think. He was of Pakistani origin. The Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, is of Pakistani origin. So they rise to positions of genuine political power where they can actually make changes on the ground. We don't. We had Rishi Sunak, but he was an appointed Prime Minister, not an elected Prime Minister.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I wonder if India thinks about doing this because our diaspora is it's more cultural, they're more emotional, and they often they act for their own, let's just say.
They don't unite. They don't work together cohesively as one unit, as one group. It never happens.
Why do you think that is? I mean, could this be that Hinduism is so abstract to hold together?
Yeah, the problem with Hindus is that the question is, what's your identity? Do Hindus think of themselves as Hindus, or do they think of themselves as Vaishnava or Shaivite or whatever? I think our sub-national identities take precedence over our national identity or our civilizational identity. As a civilization, we are Hindus. But we have sub-civilizational identities that we hold dearer in our heart as compared to the overall civilizational identity as Hindus or the national identity as Indians. And that is what prevents us from ever uniting. So in the US, you'll have so many different diaspora groups. You will have the Telugu groups, the Telugu speaking people who will all unite together as Telugus. You'll have the Gujjus who come together as Gujjus, Punjabis who come together as Punjabis. But they don't come together as Indians and intermingle except on rare occasions. So that's the problem. That's why we never unite.
Yeah, like I was having a discussion yesterday with the Linus only. I was asking him about like how do Christians in Mumbai, live their lives. He had very clear answers. This is the book. This is what we do. When you ask a Hindu, then I started having this discussion with my flatmate last night. I said, like, how will you tell someone else what does your religion stand for? It's like, we're going to probably say something very abstract. We believe in everything. We believe is like God is inside us. Sure. But then you have these micro-specific things. Like, only now do we know that Vaishnavites, Shaivites. Also, the reading class knows about it. The average Hindu will not know that I'm Vaishnavite or Shaivite. Right? Then they won't know the Indian philosophy, ki jo 20 schools hain. They won't know anything. So you have such a vast system all over, spread out so much. But when someone asks you, can you define your faith? You're just going to say some abstract spiritual stuff. Then gets co-opted and says, wow, Hinduism is so mystical.
And some of it is tangible, like certain practices, the dietary preferences, for example. Some Hindus eat meat. Some Hindus are pure vegetarian. And then they will not like each other. That's also there. But there are so many things. Most Hindus, especially urban Hindus, are not even practicing Hindus. They're Hindus in name only.
Right.
Maybe once a year they'll go to a temple, or Diwali they'll burst crackers, and Holi they'll play, and that's it. That's about it. Some of us have temples in the house, small mandirs and all. But most of us are non-practicing Hindus, so we don't even know what it is. But the identity that we hold on to is the ones that was given by our parents and grandparents and all that. That we are from, let's say, I'm from Marwar, I'm from Jodhpur or whatever, and that is our specific identity. Or some caste identity they will have.
Yeah.
We are Banyas, or we are Kshatriyas, or we are Gujjars, or whatever.
Yeah.
And so on. So these sub-civilizational, sub-national identities are the ones that take real precedence in our heart, deep in our heart. And that's why we don't unite. And obviously we have so many different lifestyle choices and lifestyle traditions that are so much at odds with each other. So Hinduism is a very, very, very diverse kind of umbrella, civilizational umbrella, in which almost everything goes. There's so much variety and difference that people don't come together.
Sometimes it actually acts against our interest. Sometimes when it comes to consolidating power, when it comes to like having a strong diaspora that can actually say this is what we stand for and lobby for the Indian cause, even if they do it culturally, I think we really lack that. Sadly.
And there's another thing as well. We don't have leadership. We don't have Hindu leadership, for example. For example, in the Abrahamic religions, they have clear military style leadership.
Yeah.
Your local church, whoever the main priest is there, is your overall boss, essentially.
But in the early years, in the conquest, they had the papal army as well.
Yeah. So in a nation like India, if you have, let's say, churches in every city, now you have 30, 40 churches in every major city minimum. And each parish, you have a local head who is the local priest, and I believe they take a tithe, 10% of your income from each person. You're supposed to voluntarily give it up. So that way you have this military style leadership structure, and each local parish head has a boss upstairs, and it goes all the way to the Vatican or wherever it is. So you have a top-down command structure, military style structure in the Abrahamic religions. The same you see in Islam as well. I'm sure. I'm not very familiar with that.
Yeah, no,
but you have it. You have it. When it comes to Hinduism, there are no leaders. There's no leadership in Hinduism. You
Yeah.
may have a pujari somewhere, but he's not seen as a leader.
Yeah.
He's seen as a spiritual guy who can, if you are troubled or whatever, if you need some puja done or whatever, you can go to him.
So sadly, he's a practitioner and a service provider.
What's sorry about that?
Mostly pujaris or mahants are practitioners and service providers. They're
Service providers and practitioners, yes.
Yeah.
So when I need to do something vis-a-vis my religion, I'll go to him and he'll get it done for me, and that's it. I'm done. Happy.
Yeah.
मुझे कुछ नहीं करना पड़ेगा. So that's the kind of thing it is. We don't have any real religious leaders, civilizational leaders. Our politicians are all secular, nothing to do with religious leadership.
Yeah.
So we don't have that at all. We are completely adrift. We have no leadership which could bring us together, unite us.
Do you think we need that? Do you think we need religious leaders in our country?
We probably should. See, historically, we have had kings who were the religious leaders, and they would patronize universities, colleges, viharas, vishwavidyas, and temples and all that. And that's how the leadership was structured back in the day. Now we have done away with our monarchies and all that, so we have nothing left. See, Hinduism is the kind of religion that dies without straight patronage, and Hinduism is being starved to death right now. And we are seeing people drifting away. So we probably do need some kind of religious leadership for our culture, civilization to survive.
When the Ram Janmabhoomi, when the Ram temple inauguration happened in Ayodhya, and there was some tiff with the Shankaracharyas and whatnot, I, for the first time, excuse my ignorance, I came to know that Hindu temples have a top authority called the Shankaracharya in the first place. I had no idea. And to me, they seem like, well, they represent the Hindu temples, they seem to be figureheads only. They don't actually have the kind of power that, say, in a Christian country or an Islamic country where, like a Midtown church in New York can still influence the Catholic vote in New York City for elections. So the mayor has to go. I don't know if it's the same in India to that level.
It's not.
Rather, you instead have godmen like a Gurmeet Ram Rahim will have more political power than, say, like the priest of a major temple.
So that tells you that what is possible,
Yeah.
But it's usually used for political purposes and all. I'm not saying that we should have Hindu leadership that is political in nature. It should be something that enables our civilization to survive and continue and thrive and flourish, that sort of thing. So yes, our religious leaders are non-political. They don't have that much influence on votes or whatever, and they are often at odds with each other also as well. One sees that sometimes.
Yeah. Sometimes even mired in corruption. So openly,
maybe.
yeah.
Yeah. So historically, the religious leaders of India were always subsidiary to the kings of India, who held the real power. So there was kind of a separation between the religious world and the actual state, which was the military power and the overall power which was held by the kings. And that entire civilizational structure that we had for thousands of years has been destroyed after 47. And that is causing the decline in Hinduism and the decline in the connection that Indians have with their roots. Most Indians, especially in big towns, cities, etc., are kind of getting deracinated. They have no connection with the roots.
Yeah.
Beyond performative celebrations on certain festivals and all that.
Yeah,
So,
it's so funny that yesterday two gentlemen had come here. They were like, "Aaj Sharat Purnima," and I could see the deracination in me. I was like, "What is Sharat Purnima?"
yeah, I know what you mean.
He's like, "But like, I don't know. It's just there's people in Bihar follow more Hindu festivals than, say, people in Gujarat, or people in like Delhi Kerala follow less than people in Delhi. I'm not sure, but like it's so different."